Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm talking about the death of collecting, and a lot of you know what I did on the New Year's video. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about the death of collecting and why a lot of collectors are feeling like this immense pressure to sell their collections, get out of collecting, or just stop altogether. So a lot of us are aware that Warner Brothers has sold to Netflix. I'm going to put on these glasses because they look really cool on me. I'm looking like a professor right here. I'm lecturing you, so I'll put them down like this so I'm looking over the top of them. So a lot of us know, a lot of us older people know. No, I'm not doing that. A lot of us people know that collect Warner Brothers being bought, and what does that mean for the industry? So many of us are starting to get that whole fear that Netflix is going to sell off the physical media department of Warner Brothers. It's more likely to happen. That's probably a given. I could see somewhere like Criterion buying the Warner Brothers physical media division and being like, but if we're going to buy that, we want to buy the assets as well. We want to be able to put out Warner Brothers assets onto physical media. I could see that happening. I could see Netflix being like, yep, do what, we don't care. We want the streaming assets and the IP. Go over there and release it if you want. I am getting to this point as a collector as well as like seeing release after release after release coming out. Re-releases of 4Ks, so you're having essentially 4K versus 4K. You're having things that don't even belong on 4K getting remastered. And you have stuff that do not look good beyond 2K, like stuff that was clearly shot for like phone shot for a certain resolution. Stuff like 28 days later. I'm sure it's been upscaled with AI. I have not watched the 4K version, but I know there's the 4K version of 28 days later. That's cool that that exists, but I'm aware that that was shot in a way that doesn't upscale well without help of AI and stuff. And people say, "Oh, but this looks cool. This looks great. It looks like it was shot yesterday." I know there's people who are raving about that. I know people do like that version. But 28 Days Later was meant to look grainy. It was meant to look a certain way to add grittiness to that world of, the zombie apocalypse. That's kind of the point of 28 Days Later. You're in a gritty world that you're kind of trying to figure out, like, what's going on. Like, Killian is obviously great in that movie. But, the Blu-ray version is even pushing it. The DVD version might be the best version of this, of how to experience this movie. This is cool because I think you can pretty much push the resolution to 1080p. I think that's pretty cool. This might not clean up well either. But this is what I'm talking about, guys. The death of collecting is here. And it's not what we all think. Everyone's like, streaming is going to kill it. Streaming is going to kill it. Streaming has killed everything. It's not streaming, guys. It's piracy as well. Collectors are increasingly becoming annoyed with this whole re-release format that studios have come out with. Stuff like Jurassic Park I've talked about. Stuff like Terminator 2, a lot of us are waiting for Terminator 2 to actually be fixed properly. Stuff like Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings is a prime example. Lord of the Rings, people are hanging on to their DVD versions, like they're holding on to, let me grab them here. They're holding on to stuff like these because this has been so messed up by Peter Jackson and the studios that people just don't want to put their hard-earned into the new one. But what happens if you want to watch it in a shiny new 4K format and Lord of the Rings just isn't available like as you want to watch it? That's why people go towards piracy. It's exactly what happened with A New Hope and Star Wars because they won't put out the original release. Now, if they had put in here, hey, here's a second disc, it's in 4K as well, here's the original 1977, the original crawl, everything you want, but the modern version is disc 1. The modern version is the one we want you watching. I think a lot of people would be like, oh, well, we don't need to collect despecialized. We don't have to collect 4K 77. Disney gave it to us. That's not happening, that's just not happening in Hollywood. And that's why people are going back, sourcing things like Jurassic Park on film reels to rescan and put DTS audio to the proper DTS audio, the proper. This is why people are going back, ripping Dragon Ball Z off videotapes in Japan that were taken from Tokyo Tower so they can have that great audio that tears with the footage great that Toei and also Funimation have not repaired. Now, I know Chris Sabat has the actual audio. I know Sabat has it. But for whatever reason, the cogs at Funimation, like the cogwheels, are not turning in Chris Sabat's favor. So I know there's a lot of dilemmas with that. I know a lot of people are not the biggest fan of him. I know there's people who are great fans, like Vegeta's the voice of Vegeta. But, if I get the original audio, that's great. Like, I do like the English dub. There's no reason why I don't like Sean Schimmel and Chris Sabat and all the guys in Funimation. But if they're holding on to that audio, and it might be Toei overseeing this, it might be Toei saying, no, we're not doing that. But the audio exists. It's superior to the optical audio, which sounds grainy and takes out all the highs and lows and stuff. It's superior. It's far superior. A lot of people are, you can see comparisons on YouTube of that. So there's this whole dilemma of like, and don't get me wrong, the Funimation releases of Dragon Ball Z aren't great either. It would be great if it was rescanned from the negative, but my understanding is that the film elements that Dragon Ball Z was shot on have degraded over time, so the colors are not as they once were. But there's still Betamax masters out there and all that. There's still all these masters out there. And my understanding is that when you have film elements, they do break down over time. But you're telling me you can't restore Dragon Ball Z that was shot on film in the 80s, but you can restore, where is it here? Warner Brothers can restore The Wizard of Oz that was shot in 1930s? You're telling me this can be restored, and given they had 3 different films because Technicolor, they had 3 different cameras recording different colors. So in all fairness, that has a different source, different ways to do it. But you're telling me Dragon Ball Z can't be treated similarly? I am just a bit at this point now where I think collecting is dying. I think collectors are giving up. I think we're losing hope. And it's not just happening in the film industry as well. When you can buy a game on physical media, you can buy a game. Let me show these. So these are the wrestling games. These ones you can't even get anymore, I don't believe. Maybe 2K24 is still available, but these two you can't get anymore on the stores, on PlayStation Store or whatever. You can maybe still get 2K24. This one is the one they want you to have, so they pull the game every year. But what happens if they put the game out and it's not even on the full disc, not on the full cartridge or whatever? That's what you're seeing with Switch 2. You're seeing digital codes and you're still getting something to put in there, whereas a digital key. But what point does discs and manufacturers start going that way as well and saying, oh, well, look at what's happening with Nintendo. What if we did that? We give them the disc so they know they've got a disc. But, you know, periodic check-ins and stuff like that. Maybe you have in the movie, it's got a key to access the movie, but it's not on the disc. That could be a way the industry goes. And while streaming becomes more and more prominent, streaming is not the one that's killing it. It's piracy killing it. And it's not because of people just want to get everything for free. No, like people will pay for something if they want it. If the people want a representation of Lord of the Rings or, you know, Star Wars or whatever, they will pay for it. We've seen Star Wars fans historically go out and buy the movie. Even when they're pirating it, there's still massive market share there for Star Wars. But what's happening is they're not giving us the versions that we want to buy. They are not available. In Disney in Australia, we are not even getting Blu-rays and 4Ks in Australia anymore. You have to import those if you want Disney. So what happens when a market doesn't give you what you want? There's really 2 options. Go back and collect an older version or pirate it. And that's what's happening. People are turning towards piracy. And if you can't get the shiny new 4K version, if, let's say, Terminator 2 is so messed up, because it is messed up, if that's so messed up, people are going to go out and just say, oh, I'll just get it off the internet. I'll get it off someone's rescanned a film reel or something in some other country. They've fixed it up, fixed it all up, and it's 4K, so it's a 4K master. It's scanned from a 4K scan. It's come from a 4K scan. So why would I not just go and source that? I'll buy this one. A lot of people will buy this and say, oh, well, I'll buy this one so there's no piracy risk. I've got the latest version. But piracy is taking the way. And then there's the people who aren't going to buy them and just say, oh, I'll just pirate everything. This is the dilemma we're in. I've seen on the original trilogy website, there's a website out there where they try to restore the originals for Star Wars. People even talk about Jurassic Park, about restoring this with the DTS audio and scanning a film reel. So people have actually restored this in a way that is outside of the massive manufacturers, outside of Universal, you know. And this is the way we're going. The death of collecting is happening, guys. And it's happening. I'm not even like joking about it. It is happening. When a collector like me and other collectors have said, you know what, we're a bit over it. We love collecting, don't get me wrong, we love collecting. But when I can go out and get a box set for this, like let me see, this was only like a few dollars. When I can go out and get this at Salvation Army, this box set, this cool Matrix box set, and this is a really cool box set by the way. When I can go out and get that for like $5, and you're charging $30, $40, $50, $60 for one release of like the Matrix, more people are going to say, well, I'll just go and collect DVD, I'll go collect Blu-ray, I'll just give up on it. We've seen this push in Australia especially of going back and re-release, like buying these games from like EB Games. EB Games are buying these get back now, games like these, and reselling them at a profit of saying, oh, well, this one, cool, we'll give you 10 cents for it and we'll sell it for 50. Like, there is this whole dilemma of collecting just isn't worth it for some people anymore. It really isn't. The collecting golden age has ended. And we're in that period afterwards now where companies are starting to understand the money in this. They're starting to understand, how do we sell this again and again? How do we get more money? Because at the end of the day, it's all about money. And that's the thing. Everyone is so obsessed with money that they don't stop and ask, how do we make this experience so impeccable? How do we make this experience so good that people will not be able to resist giving up their hard-earned to get it? That was the marketing for 2001 when they put it out on 4K. They didn't have to even market this thing. When the collectors started talking amongst ourselves and saying, this is definitive, like this is the way you watch 2001 now, this really blew a lot of people away. And let me hold it there, let me get that glare off it. Like this, let's get the thumbnail. Okay, we got the thumbnail. But you know, this release right here is the definitive way to watch 2001. And it didn't even need much marketing. They said, yeah, we're putting it out, it's got Dolby Vision, I believe. Yeah, it's got Dolby Vision. It's got Dolby Vision, it's got all the bells and whistles you could ever imagine. And then the collectors started talking about it, saying, this is the way you watch it. Like, everyone needs to go out and get this released now. Now, I might also believe that this is out of print. I think this is out of print at the moment. I might be wrong on that, but this is what I'm talking about. Availability, if you wanted to get that release and it's out of print, what do you do in that situation? Collecting is dying, guys, and it's 2026, so yeah, what do we do about it? What are we doing as collectors? Are we going to give up our money for mediocrity anymore? I personally am not. I'm just waiting for, like, I will buy a release if I feel it's worth it. Like, I want to get Rocky Horror for my collection. I want to get the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I know it's out there on 4K. I do want to get that. I want to get Dogma on 4K. But I'm not running out to get it right now because there are numerous things that could be wrong with it. There is numerous things where they might do a later re-release. There's numerous things where I could actually be better off waiting. So yeah, guys, I want to know what you have to think. But jump down in the comments, let me know. And yeah, that's the video. Peace.